So I want to go through Helltide zones and share with everyone how to go ahead and efficiently farm these areas for way quicker experience rates and way quicker cinder rates so that you can actually go ahead and get your unique resources in these zones quicker. They actually did get a buff recently, so I figured this is a perfect time to actually revisit this topic. I've talked about some of the maps that are going to help you, and I'll leave these in the links down below. And we are going to be using one today. But I want to go over the main mechanics of Helltide zones, and then of course, actually showcase some of the strategies. So going over some of the mechanics of Helltide zones that you're going to need to know if you really want to farm these. First off, the Aberrant Cinders. Aberrant Cinders drop from monsters, chests, various areas, and just loot around the map. And you just acquire these and you use these to open chests. Based on what chest it is, it's going to give you a decreased cost. Usually the iterations are 75, 125, 150, or 175 for the mystery chests. Okay, if you die, you lose half of them. Normally in these areas, the monsters are slightly higher level than your average open world monsters, and there's going to be meteors falling around the map, and there's going to be bosses that spawn quite regularly, mini bosses is what I would say, around the map. Now, important things to note. If we pull up the Helltide Zone event tracker here and talk about a few things. First off, events still activate in Helltide zones. These are very important because they can give you a ton of additional Aberrant Cinders and of course spawn monsters for you to get additional Aberrant Cinders. There are chests of mysteries, as I mentioned, and these chests are the ones you're going to want to open. I know I mentioned some other chests. Well, each one will give you some specific gear unlock, meaning if it's a boot chest, then you're going to get boots. But generally speaking, every single time you go farm Helltide zones, you're going to want to open the chest of mysteries because you're going to get more gear and more materials to use when you open those specifically. And these are located by the chests on this map, which is why I'll leave a link to this down below. Now, there's usually 2 spawns per zone, or I should say 1 spawn per zone, but 2 per entire Helltide zone. And what do I mean by this? Well, if I pop back into game here and show you all, you see how I hover over and there's like this little white outline? That means that that is 1 zone. The other zone of the Helltide zone is also indicated by that other white outline, which means that there's going to be 1 mystery chest in this zone and then another mystery chest in this zone for a total of 2 mystery chests in the entire Helltide zone. This is pretty important because you're going to be looking for quite some time if you're trying to look for more mystery chests. At the same time, these mystery chests reset at the hour. Now you notice if I go ahead and look at my clock right here, it's 11:56 p.m. and the chest resets in 3 minutes and 34 seconds. These reset right on the hour. Now the Helltide zones themselves don't necessarily start on the hour mark, which means that if you are quick enough about getting your cinders, you can actually potentially get both mystery chests, have it reset, and then farm a second grouping of mystery chests for a total of 4 mystery chests within 1 period of Helltide zones, which lasts for an hour every single time. And usually the Helltide zone respawns after every other Helltide time period, meaning you go for an hour, that Helltide zone lasts, you wait an hour, and then the next Helltide zone will last for the next hour. Now, one other really important thing to remember about these zones is these events are not one and done. I already talked about how events are going to be pretty important, and that's going to be our main strategy for farming these zones. When you're going through and you see these events, these can be repeated infinitely amount of times, just like it were in the open world. And it's also important to note that if you're with a group, or even if you're just alone and you have other people nearby, you're going to actually get some of that XP that the monsters that they're killing, even if you're just in the vicinity, which is kind of the same thing that works in the standard open world. So even if you aren't in a group or you don't have a dedicated couple of friends, then going to these events usually localizes the players anyways, and you're still going to get very similar value, if not the exact same as you are farming, as if you are farming in a group. Now I've put the map of the Helltide zone in the bottom right corner so we can kind of look at that while we're going through the Helltide Zone, there's also one other thing to remember, and that is the Fiend Roses and the Screaming Hellvein gatherables on the open world map. You're going to want to look out for these because these will drop the unique crafting resources you need to go ahead and reroll your gear. But the standard strategy is to find a group of events and kind of cycle through them over and over and over again. And generally speaking, because there's going to be a lot of players, whenever a new player kind of enters that field, you're going to reset the event. You can see here, if I just follow the map, well, there we go. There's going to be our first event, and we're going to use this to kind of get us a ton of aberrant cinders. Now, depending, of course, on what class you are, how fast you can clear, whether there's people around, etc. This could be faster, this could be slower. It all really depends on what the situation is. Granted, if you are a pretty strong class and you're able to one-shot most things, which I would say most classes are able to do, then you'll have relative ease with this area of the game, and you're not going to have too many problems. So this is the basic strategy. You just complete these events, you loot the aberrant cinders, and the goal is to complete the events. It's not like your standard normal dungeon clearing where you don't necessarily care about the end. You absolutely do care about the end in these ones, because oftentimes the end will give you aberrant cinders or potentially a nice boost in whatever it is, potentially a crafting material. I've seen some crafting materials in these ones, but mainly it's for the additional aberrant cinders. So that's the first event done, and then we're going to go through and farm. What I like to do is farm the events clockwise. And oh, here we go. Look at this Screaming Hellvein. We loot that in order to pick up our Forgotten Souls from that. But I like to go in a clockwise fashion around the zone that I'm in. And if you happen to have other members of your party or other people in the map, you can actually go ahead and infinite reset the event or TP to town and just teleport back to where you were in order to reset the event. Although, in my opinion, those are far slower, at least from my experience here. They're far slower than just going around the map, killing the monsters as you go in between the events. You really want as little downtime as possible because these events are timed, and if you are, these zones rather are timed, and if you don't go ahead and use your aberrant cinders, then you lose them forever. So you absolutely want to use them if you get a chance. And some situations that you'll not have an event spawn, which can be a little annoying, but generally speaking, you're going to have an event spawn as long as you haven't been there before in these Helltide zones, and hopefully you'll have other people there, as I mentioned, in order to spawn additional events. I'm going to go ahead and clear out a lot of these events, get my 175 cinders, and come back and open a mystery chest for you all. So once you've gone ahead and acquired the 175 cinders, your next goal should be to find that mystery chest, which is going to give you the biggest bang for your buck with these aberrant cinders. And as shown in that map, once again, it'll be in a link down below. Those kind of chest icons that it shows are the 4 potential spots for a mystery chest. Not every single spot will have a mystery chest. As I mentioned, there's 1 per zone, and there are 4 potential spots typically per zone. So it shows the 4. You're gonna have to go around the map and look for where your chest is. I looked in this bottom right-hand corner, or the top right-hand corner, and I could not find it. But then I went to the second place shown on that map, and well, the chest of mysteries is right here. Again, 1 per zone, 2 per total Helltide zone. And once you find it, you open it. It's that simple. And then you go ahead and do the same exact process for the bottom side of the map. And the reason why we're opening these mystery chests and why we're so adamant about grinding it out until we get these mystery chests is because check this out. You get so many different materials and ancestral, typically, legendary items. For example, here, if I just pull open my crafting materials, you can see I have 6 Forgotten Souls, and I have 16 Fiend Roses. If I were to step over here, I now have 22 Fiend Roses and 15 Forgotten Souls. So I ended up getting a ton there, and I got 4 Ancestrals as well as a ton of quite solid elixirs. So that's pretty much the entire way to go ahead and really grind out these Helltide zones. Hopefully this was helpful. I know that these things can sometimes be annoying for some people or just pretty fun for others. If you guys just want to chill out, farm the zones, feel free to do so, of course. But if you're looking to get just a little bit more efficient for these zones, because you will be repeating these quite often, then hopefully this video has helped you. If it did, leave a like, sub to the channel, and I'll see you all for the next one.